You know, it's fascinating how um, millions of people really believe we're hurtling toward an apocalyptic end. And yet, there's this whole multi-billion-dollar machine built around that fear.
Yep, absolutely. When you peel back the layers, it's like the end times have become not just a spiritual belief, but a thriving business model.
Right, exactly. I mean, think about it. Wars in the Middle East, earthquakes, political chaos, economic collapse. All these events aren't just news headlines. For millions of Christians, they're seen as divine signals that the end is near.
And what's even wilder is how these interpretations have morphed into a full-blown market. It goes from books and movies to massive conferences and even survival kits.
Yeah, you're spot on. It's like there's this whole pipeline. Predictions about the end become content, and that content then gets sold over and over. I mean, the Left Behind series is like a prime example. Over 65 million copies sold, and entire multimedia franchises springing up out of that
Yeah,
narrative.
it really is incredible. It makes you wonder, though, how much of it is truly spiritual conviction and how much is capitalizing on fear?
Exactly, and that's the real kicker. The message that the apocalypse is imminent creates this urgency. People are scared, and when you're scared, you tend to invest in books, conferences, even emergency kits. It creates a perfect, if unsettling,
Right.
ecosystem for profit.
And what's intriguing is the historical element. I mean, the whole concept of the rapture, for example, this idea that true believers vanish prior to massive tribulation, was actually introduced in the 1800s by John Nelson Darby.
Yes, that's a game changer. Darby's introduction of dispensationalism, where he proposed that believers would be suddenly snatched away before everything collapsed, really reshaped how millions of Christians view the end times.
Exactly. It's almost like a reset button for believers. But here's a thought. What do you make of the fact that for most of early Christianity, the rapture narrative simply didn't exist? It just appeared out of nowhere and then exploded in popularity.
That's a great point. It's almost as if the framework was designed for maximum dramatic effect. Scary, unconventional, and incredibly marketable. Once it hit the U.S., it spread like wildfire because it fit that thirst for spectacle.
No doubt. And we see that marketability right in modern prophecy culture. Every war, every election, every economic downturn becomes evidence for the impending end. People are constantly on the lookout for those signs, and then they flock to conferences, subscribe to newsletters. Well, they basically get trapped in a cycle of fear and spending.
Yeah, it's like a never-ending story. Consider the prophecy conferences held all across the U.S. Thousands gather to hear speakers decipher current events through a biblical lens. They examine maps, decode symbols, and then right after that, you've got a barrage of merchandise, books, DVDs, even survival kits.
Yep, exactly. Although I have to respectfully challenge one thing. Isn't it possible that some of these speakers genuinely believe their interpretations rather than simply trying to make a buck off of fear?
Oh, definitely. There's no denying that many genuinely believe what they're preaching. They think they're offering a vital interpretation of current events. But the irony is that regardless of intent, the financial mechanisms at work are undeniable.
True, the system itself creates a kind of feedback loop. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts. Fear drives the economy, which in turn reinforces the fear. And then there's televangelism, right? These televangelists not only spread the warning, but also sell survival supplies and emergency kits.
Yeah, exactly. Televangelism took the idea a step further. With dedicated prophecy programs, viewers receive constant updates on global conspiracies and biblical timelines. And then you see products like gold investments and Rapture survival guides pitched as necessities. It's almost like they're preparing you for a science fiction scenario, except it's right in your living room.
Yep, it's a wild mix of fear and commerce. And what about the political angle? This whole end times narrative isn't just confined to personal beliefs, it's actually influencing policies. For instance, the rise of Christian Zionism, where some see modern events in the Middle East as directly fulfilling biblical prophecy.
Exactly. The intertwining of prophecy with politics is one of the most significant outcomes. A lot of American Christians support robust policies in support of Israel because they believe it's a divine mandate anchored in Scripture. It's a fascinating, albeit controversial, interplay between belief and
It's
governance.
a bit of a mixed bag. And then there's the irony about biblical interpretation itself. Scholars argue that the book of Revelation was actually a coded critique of the Roman Empire, not like a manual for modern geopolitical chaos. Yet, that nuance gets lost because, let's face it, the narrative of impending doom is amply dramatic.
Exactly. It's almost like choosing between a subtle historical debate and a blockbuster thriller. The nuanced interpretations might be intellectually richer, but the dramatic, sensational version just sells much better.
Exactly. And what makes it even more interesting is that this system, once in place, is hard to shake off. Every time a prediction fails, another interpretation surfaces. It's a continuous cycle.
Yep, it's this perpetual countdown mentality. The message is always, the end is near, but just never quite here, which keeps the market active. It's like a never-ending sequel that never runs out of box office receipts.
Right. It's a bit unsettling, really. Think about it. From prophecy books to conferences that charge you just to listen to someone correlate news with ancient texts. Every war, each natural disaster becomes fodder for a headline that says, "This is just a sign."
Absolutely. And the sheer scale is impressive. Televangelist networks, publishing houses focusing solely on end times literature, even dedicated streaming platforms for prophecy conferences. It's a vast ecosystem where the apocalyptic narrative drives almost every financial decision.
It really makes you think. But then, despite all the revenue streams, every prediction about the end of the world has historically not come true. Yet the industry keeps growing. Why do you think that is?
Great question. I think it boils down to the fact that fear is a seductively powerful motivator. When you believe you might be walking toward the end, every moment becomes urgent. It compels people to keep engaging, subscribing, donating, and buying safety products, all of which, ironically, requires them to trust the very narrative that keeps them anxious.
Yep, fear really is a driving force. And as long as that cycle continues, the question remains, who really benefits from keeping us in this state of constant anticipatory panic?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? In one sense, it's the industry itself, from publishers and televangelists to conference organizers. But arguably, there's also an underlying political motive here, where maintaining a constant state of urgency helps justify certain policy decisions or geopolitical stances.
Exactly. It almost seems like the end times are not so much a prophesied event as a product designed to sell hope, resolve uncertainty, and, unfortunately, make money.
Right? And it forces us to ask, like, what does it mean when something as profound as the fate of the world is packaged and sold as entertainment and security?
Yeah, it's a bit cynical when you put it that way. And then there's the whole trend where no matter how many predictions fail, the narrative evolves. Every new crisis becomes another sign, continually repackaging the apocalypse for the next wave of consumers.
That's exactly it. It's like a perpetual motion machine of fear. Each failed prediction simply fuels a new version of the prophecy, all designed to keep the momentum going.
Right? It's a disturbing but effective cycle. So ultimately, when the discussion shifts from spiritual belief to business strategy, it raises, well, a critical question. Who is really winning when we're all trapped in this countdown?
Indeed. And maybe that's the takeaway. While many sincerely embrace these teachings, the structure around them creates a powerful commercial incentive to keep the fear alive. And that always makes you wonder. Next time you hear someone say, "The end is near," ask, who's making money off the countdown?
Yeah, absolutely.